The law of supply and demand applies also to strip joints. So let me explain. Um, Back when I was young, people had lots of money in Montreal. Okay, like I delivered furniture, and people would pay me cash. Okay, let's say I would deliver um, all the appliances, sofa, kitchen, bedroom set, mattress, everything. Right, the people would pay me like $10,000 in cash. A car, I think a Cadillac in the '60s was like 3,000 or 3,500, something like that, and people would pay it cash. So anyway, my point is, people had a lot of money in Montreal back then. Okay, so when I started to go at strip joints, you could not just like go click your fingers like that and say, hey, you want to come and they call it a lap dance, right? They come with a little stool. I don't. I think that's what they call it, a stool or something. And they come with that and they dance for you at your table, right? Well, you could not do that back then because people had money and they were in big demand. There was more customers for the amount of strippers, so it was very, oh, hey, you want to come and dance with me? Oh yeah, I'll be there in 2 hours. Okay, it was like that. And my favorite spot, not all the time, but for a certain period, was Au Cœur de l'Éden. That was one of my favorite strip joints. First of all, I'm from Montreal North. It was in Saint-Léonard, so it wasn't too far. It was bigger than Mado, right? And it was better than the Café des Ponts, because it was better made, and there was always a comedian there and shows and things like that. So, but with as time went on and people started to have less and less and less money, and then Quebec wanted to separate, and many companies, they moved to Toronto. It was like everybody moved out of Quebec, right? So people had less and less and less and less money. I mean, I was continuing to go to strip joints because, like I said, my life, I preferred to have nothing, live in a one bedroom, and be out in bars all night than to have to pay like $2,000 for a month for a house and do nothing. Right? I preferred the nightlife. Um, but then, if you have to quit the nightlife, then you have to get a little better apartment because you're not going out anymore. So you want a little more space there and a TV to watch Netflix, right? Yeah, that's fun. Anyway, so uh, when people had less and less and less money, the whole situation in the strip joints, it changed there because now the law of supply and demand applies, right? So now you have less and less and less customers having money and asking the people to dance, okay, the strippers to dance at their table, okay? So now they're more available, they're making less money. So I hope you understand what I mean there. So the survival for strippers became harder and harder and harder because people had less and less and less money. But I was working all the time and my rent was not expensive, so I had money to do that, right? To make a girl dance at my table and to go in the back and things like that. Because some places you just, they don't want the voyeur to see the girl dance at your table, so there's a little curtain, so it's just for you, right? This guy doesn't want to pay, then it's just for you. So anyway, but at the end, like the dances, first of all, they came more expensive, okay? And the taxi business changed also because they were giving out more and more and more permits. And since people have less money, they take less cabs. So as a cab driver, I was making less and less and less money also. But I was continuing to go to strip joints, right? So I had to change my strategy there because if I would go just, just like I would drive 6 hours on a cab and just go for a break and just stop for an hour just to relax. Then I had all these girls after me, you want me to dance for you, you want me to dance for you, So I always had the survival was getting hard, so I was always being, like I don't want to use I don't want to piss people off, but anyway, I hope you know what I mean. So I had to change my strategy. So if I went, let's say I did want to make a girl dance at my table or to go in the back behind the little curtain there. Okay, so now I was going there for that purpose. So if I sat at the bar, at one place I went was called the Sex Appeal on Blurry and St. Catherine, right? If I sat at the bar, I knew that a girl would come and see me and ask me for that. But then that was planned for me. So I just say, okay, let's go, right? But if I didn't want nobody to bother me, then I had to go to a place where it's very, very, very busy. Like back then, it was the super sex because there was a lot of Americans coming in, yeah, and the money is worth more, So they had, like, let's say your money is worth 40% more. You had that 40% to spend. So then I went there. So the law of supply and demand they were in big demand. So nobody came and bothered me. So I had 3 spots like that for a different reason. One place I knew that they would ask me to go behind the curtain, and another place I knew that I'm just there for a quick break and stuff like that. So that was my strategy there. Different place for different reasons.